Hello, YouTubers. I'm having another bad hair day, so that explains the hat. I apologize for my voice, too. I got some kind of seasonal crud that won't go away, and it's kind of kicked me in the butt. I, out of abundance of caution, got tested for COVID, but I'm still waiting for the results. Even though they said my lungs sounded good, no fever, and they feel pretty confident it isn't COVID. Nonetheless, it has taken a lot of energy out of me, so I take lots of naps. Now, you may notice I'm not looking directly in the video. I'm looking over top of it because I'm reading the script off of my computer screen in big letters so I can read without my glasses, because I'm having a hard time figuring out how to take a video without the glasses glaring. Just bear with me on this. There's a whole bunch of words that I have to stuff into my little cell phone, and then the screen moves and I have to keep up with the screen. This way I can move the screen and it keeps up with me. Well, before I start, I'm not a professional planner, a banker, a psychiatrist, a psychologist, and this is strictly my own way of looking at things. If you are an adult, I'd appreciate that you watch this the whole way through, then make a judgment, and if you feel as strongly as I do about the things that I say on here, please, by all means, pass it on to some teenagers that you know. Could be your own children or your grandchildren, because I think it's really worthwhile, to be honest with you. This is about things I've learned almost too late in life. Hopefully it will provide you, a family member, or a friend some insight into growing personal wealth. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time, and that is to talk about money. When I think back to my early life, I wish I knew about the things I'm going to explain that will change how you look at your future and money and value, and how to measure your worth or importance. This video is going to be focused on young people because starting early is very important. I'm gearing this video to aim towards teenagers and up, because most teenagers start to have a little bit of common sense, although they may not use it too often, but maybe some of them will catch on. That's my hope. But before we talk about dollars, I have to get you thinking about your personal worth or value, and not dollars. Now, I am scrolling this screen in front of me, so occasionally I have to adjust it because I got two lines I can read right above my phone, so it doesn't look like I'm not looking at the phone. Now, you will discover your value, and the dollars will come a little later. First, how much value do you have? Well, it gets measured in several ways. Your value is the ability to perform. Those abilities come from several sources, such as your health, your knowledge, your skills, and how others see you. Do you help around the house or perform chores like mowing the yard, washing the family car, cleaning your own room, or other household chores? Things like that actually help you build wealth and make you valuable to your parent or parents and to yourself. This helps give you a sense of pride and helps you with your own personal self-esteem, which is very important. That's a hard thing to come by when you're a young teenager, is your own self-esteem. Knowing that you actually mean something to someone else is very powerful to you. If you can look in the mirror and feel good about yourself, then you have value. And I'm telling you, whether you can look in the mirror and see something good or not, you do have value. You just have to know where to find it and use it. One of the things to give you value is knowledge. Yeah, I know. You don't want to hear that as a teenager either. You are at the age where you start to realize someday you will be working to support yourself and build your future, assuming you're still a teenager from here. I don't expect you all of a sudden to decide what you're going to do at this age. This is why you are in school. It gives you an opportunity to find out what you like and don't like. The don't likes are pretty easy, I'm sure. Some of you actually have an idea and maybe even a goal to be in a certain career already. That was beyond what I was in my teenage years. Thinking about the future using your value will get you to ask yourself questions about where you want your life to go. Sounds heavy, doesn't it? Well, don't let it be too heavy right now. But school helps give you the discipline to learn about your future opportunities if you accept it and don't fight it. You're not going to like every subject or class, and this is part of life you have to accept. There will be many things after you get out of school you aren't going to enjoy doing either. So while you are there, try not to fight it and see school as an opportunity to gain knowledge about the things that do interest you. There'll be lots of things that don't, and you can throw that stuff out. But you'd be surprised later on in life that some of that stuff comes back and it becomes useful, and you didn't even think about it. You will find what you think now will change as you grow through life too. You might have several job changes. Some might be your idea, and others might be somebody else's idea, and some things you have no control over. Having knowledge will help you overcome many obstacles through life because you can use that knowledge to move on maybe to something else, bigger and better. Skills. Do you like working with your hands or your head or both? Are you a thinker or a doer? Or neither one. Maybe you are just bored with it all and seen as lazy. If you put to use some of the ideas in this video, it will help you break free from being lazy or just bored. You also could have a condition that makes it difficult for you to learn. I did. I think I had ADD before it was ever invented. And it was very difficult for me to learn and memorize. And let's face it, school is nothing but memorization. If you're having a problem memorizing, concentrating, let the teacher know. Let the guidance counselor know. Let your parents know. There is help. So I suggest you seek it early while you can. It will be good for you. Now, what I'm talking about here will give you a place to focus and develop skills to be financially secure, because that's what we're talking about. You will find one skill can lead to another and take you entirely in a different direction. It's called building confidence, which comes with practicing a skill using your hands or your head or both. Find something you enjoy doing, and this will help hone your skills. How do others see you? Well, a better question is, how do you want others to see you? Do you want other people to see you as a good friend, as smart, a troublemaker, which I hope not, a football star, a cheerleader, as pretty, as handsome? Here's a simple way to help others see you in a positive manner. Smile. Yeah, learn to smile. Yep, simple as it sounds. Ask yourself, when do I feel good about myself? When someone made me smile, or even when I made someone else smile? It's a win-win either way. Helps build your confidence and makes you feel good inside. These are things that you can do to change your way of thinking. So like I said, make yourself feel better inside and make some of those visions for yourself real. No, not everyone is going to be capable of being a sports star or winning a beauty contest. And I'm sorry if that sounds sexist. I am from old school because I'm old. You can make yourself beautiful or handsome on the inside. You can be your own star by knowing you're working hard towards some of the traits that I'm talking about for yourself during this video. These traits will change as you go through life because your views on life will change as you go along. Try not to beat yourself up on wanting to be someone else. Just focus on those things about you that you know you can change to make yourself happier about you. I know that's a mouthful, but put simply, life is an attitude. Smile, as I said, even when you're sad, and actually will help reduce your sadness. Try it. It actually works. Here is something to ponder too. One of my favorite things I say to myself that helps put life in perspective for me is you have to have good days and bad days just so you know the difference. And we all have them. Now, just smile. People will wonder what you know that they don't. Okay, another thing to help you along in life is your health. If you're in poor health, you're not thinking about growing your value. You now have to ask yourself if you can improve your own health. Sadly, there are some people that have some disadvantages and have bad health right from the get-go, but they usually learn how to work around, most of them, and build their personal value in different ways. Learn how you can be healthier by eating healthier, taking care of your hygiene, or just learning about your particular health problem and how to improve it. YouTube is a great source to learn more so you don't feel alone. And of course, you should be talking to a doctor or a professional as needed, as I suggested with the people that may have a bit of a learning disability. You are not alone, but there is help. So seek it. All right, now let's put this all together. How does this make sense about net worth? It doesn't so far, does it? But you've learned how to improve your knowledge, some skill or skills. You're practicing to be the person you want others to see and becoming and staying healthy. This should begin to give you a good feeling about you on the inside and a little bit of confidence. And this is not a race to the finish line. This will become an ongoing journey that you can use throughout your life now that you have some of the tools and you take advantage and use them. And that is 100% on you. This is called self-responsibility. Although I'm focusing on teenagers, it's never too late to practice some of these ideas if you're like me and started late in life, developing my understanding of my personal value. Now I'm going to apply these principles to developing your personal net worth. It's very simple. Net worth is what you own, O-W-N, against what you owe, O-W-E. If you are a teenager, you probably think you don't have either, but you are wrong. Do you own a bicycle? Did you earn it, or was it given to you? Did you earn it through a reward for good grades, an allowance for weekly chores, or some other way you performed? Even if it was given to you, most likely you did something good to deserve it. This was your income, and this bike now has value. That makes it an asset to you or something you own. You own lots of things, even though you may not have been the person who paid for them. Things such as your clothes, gifts from holidays or birthdays, all those things you own have a value to you. And you can put a dollar value on them. Your bike declines in value because it's no longer new, and you likely will grow out of it. Gifts are no longer new, and they also lose value to you along with your clothes because you grow out of them. Most of you own a cell phone, and I'm betting that is your most valuable asset. But it too will lose value because the manufacturer of your cell phone will be making a better model next year. But I realize it still holds a lot of value to you, but its dollar value has declined. Now, I suggest you take a sheet of paper at this point and start writing down some things. Start with everything you feel that you own that has value and try to put a dollar figure on it. But remember, how much you think it could sell for is the real value, not what it's worth to you. This is the beginning of what's called your assets to judge your net worth by. Don't worry at this point about owning much. This is just to teach you how important it is to understand value of tracking your personal net worth. This works for any age, so you adults can be doing this too, and should be as far as the old geezer is concerned. The next portion of knowing your net worth is understanding what you owe, or your liabilities, or debt. The easiest way to explain this is whoever gave you that cell phone, well, you owe them for that cell phone. If you are lucky, a big thank you pays the debt. Or it could be you have to pay for it out of doing chores, getting better grades, or it's being taken out of your allowance. But somehow that phone is getting paid. Now here is where you might want to stay a teenager, because as long as someone else is providing for you, you're in pretty good shape, and you might want to stay there. Trust this old geezer about that one. But the reality is, you are going to grow to be your own someday. I got a tough sentence here. I can't get through it, and I wrote it. But the reality is, you are going to grow to be on your own someday, and you might be the one now providing some demanding teenager an expensive cell phone and other stuff. Your first big asset that will also bring you debt is likely a car or further education. Many of you will get help in some way to purchase a car or pay for more schooling or both. But let's start with that transportation, because it is something you can touch and feel, and it has an immediate benefit, and it has value. Education has tons of value, but you can't draw upon it instantly or feel or see the results immediately. And you have to apply it once you learn it. In building a net worth statement, this car has a dollar value based on what it could sell for, not what it does for you. That is what it's worth. It has tons of value to you because of what it does for you. But this is where you now have to change your thought pattern to understand that worth and value are two different things. Let's say this car was given to you to go to school and someone else paid for it, and they are covering the cost of the fuel, the oil changes, the insurance, and other maintenance. You have no financial debt in this car, but you do have an emotional debt to someone. Let's say this is a used car with a resale value of $9,000. To get your net worth, total up all your assets, and let's say the other things you own now have an estimated resale value of $1,000. That could be your clothes, that cell phone, etc. Your total assets are $10,000. Since you have no debt or liabilities, and since someone else is paying it all, you subtract your liabilities, which is zero, from your assets, which is $10,000. So your personal net worth is $10,000. Pretty good for a teenager, actually. Now, let's say someone gave you $1,000 as a gift to help you purchase that $9,000 car, and you have a part-time job making $1,000 a month, and you have $100 in savings. Since you have a job that has value and shows you have value in performing that job, someone, such as a bank or a family member, will loan you the balance of that money to purchase that car, or $8,000. You now have a car, but also a liability to pay back the loan. Looking at this in the simplest ways, you now own a car with a value of $9,000, but owe $8,000 to the bank. Your net worth is $1,000. $9,000 in value minus the $8,000 in debt equals $1,000. If you become responsible for paying your own gas, maintenance, liability, and if you become responsible for paying your own gas, maintenance, and insurance, those all become liabilities. And since this is a used car, it needs repairs and also loses value. Those liabilities easily could total up to be more than $1,000 in a month. Let's say for the first month, you had to buy new tires for that car at $400. Insurance for 3 months for $500, plus $250 a month car payment. That totals up to be $1,150. And you still have a car, but I'm keeping it at $9,000, even though it has lost value already. Here is where you put this all together on a spreadsheet to track your net worth each month. Assets, what you own. Or your income is $1,000 so far, that's per month. Your auto is worth $9,000. I mentioned you had $100 in savings. So your assets total up to be $10,100. Now, what are your liabilities, or what you owe? Well, the auto loan for $8,000. You haven't paid for the tires yet, that's $400. Your insurance is $500. So you now have a total liabilities of $8,900. Subtracting the $8,900 from your $10,100 in assets leave you a net worth of $1,200. That's a far cry from the first scenario where it was $10,000 net worth. And yes, sometimes your net worth can be a negative number. And that is very common for students that go on to college, because they develop the college debt far before they develop an income to pay it off. So they could work with a negative net worth for quite a long time. That is why doing a net worth statement each month will help you stay on track to build wealth and not get so far into debt that you can't get out. And sadly so, there are people in that situation. This is very basic, but if you remember, I showed you making $1,000 a month income, and you can't pay all your liabilities off in 1 month, so you start making payments. So you have to learn how to make a budget. And why you have to make a budget. That pretty well explains it. Having a monthly budget will also show you where your money is being spent and how much, if any, is going to make your net worth grow or shrink. Everyone's net worth is different depending on how they value things throughout life. What is more important to you, owning or owing? Here's where I'll give you a very personal example. I have a 2003 Ford Ranger that's well paid for, has over 200,000 miles. It still runs. I still put money into it to maintain it. I would love to have a brand new Ford Ranger because they're party, and everybody wants to have new. It's keeping up with the Joneses, or is it a status symbol? Well, I learned that a status symbol is nothing more than a drain on your net worth. So if you can put that into perspective, you can get in the habit of tracking your net worth every month, you will improve your life automatically. You will make better money decisions throughout your life by asking yourself if a status symbol is important to you, or is growing your wealth more important. I'm assuming you are reading this as a teenager, but it didn't hit me until I was in my 40s with very little in assets and very little debt and very little savings for my future. In my next video, I will teach you how I managed to start saving and invest to protect my financial future, but only after I understood my personal net worth, which wasn't much when I started learning how to save. Now, let's talk about the worst thing you can do to screw up and with what I just taught you. That is peer pressure. Letting peer pressure make decisions for you. I'm sure you feel it from family, friends, or bullies who tease you by calling your names or something like that. It comes from our brothers, our sisters, our mom, our dad, our friends, or others. Most of it's just fun, or maybe they are mad at the moment and you're just a likely target. It's not what anybody really thinks of you, but it hurts the same. You most likely have called other people names too, and used peer pressure against people and not even think about it. This is the kind of peer pressure I'm talking about. It's the I dare you, or you're a wimp or a sissy kind of peer pressure if you don't do or join something they suggest. It's the kind where someone is really trying to put you down because you don't do what they do. If you put into practice everything I talked about so far, it will not eliminate peer pressure, but it will bother you less because you have a direction and you are in control. Most of these people that beat you down, they don't have a clue, and someone most likely has been beating them down. Here's a way to look at peer pressure. Someone is trying to get you to feel bad about yourself so that they feel better about themselves, or justify the bad behavior that they have. There's safety in numbers, so somebody's got a bad habit and they can get somebody to go along with them. They can justify it then. We don't really take time to think about that peer pressure because usually it instantly hurts. But since you have a path to follow, you can be prepared for it. So it just shows you're already smarter than they are. And you don't want to tell them because they'll have more jokes about you or push you harder to do something you know to be wrong. You can just smile on the inside and remember, way back at the beginning of this talk, how do you want others to see you? As hard as it is, don't be a follower by peer pressure. You are smart enough to know when it is wrong. This is the kind of pressure from others who try to make you feel bad, or they dare you to try something you wouldn't normally do, or they say it will make you a sissy or a wimp. If you let it, it'll stop you from being that stronger, better, or nicer person. You have the ability to say no when a friend tries to get you to smoke, or worse, get you hooked on drugs, or a challenge that could actually threaten your life or hurt you. Maybe they're really not a friend at all. A long time ago, I had many friends that tried to get me to smoke pot, and that was the big thing back at my age. But I refused. Yes, I got called names, but almost everyone later in life said they were impressed that I could say no, and I stuck to it. And they still remained my friend. If I chose to let them still remain my friend, that puts you in control. They didn't have a direction or even self-confidence to resist peer pressure themselves. Do you really think that is how they wanted others to see them? they fell to someone using peer pressure on them. This is how very dangerous habits get started. Just say, no thanks, I don't need it. You will become someone that is looked up to, not down at. That is the person you want others to see in you. Okay, slight intermission. Evidently, Mrs. Geezer had hollered up to me to ask me what kind of soup I wanted with supper, since we're not, neither one of us are feeling that super for supper. Intermission here for a moment. Things may have changed on the angle of everything, my cap, the time of day, lots of things. I took a supper break. And when I come back, I started the video, but I didn't start recording. Loaded it up to my Microsoft Movie Maker and did a whole lot of editing and got to the end, and it wasn't the end. So here I am picking up where I left off. I just love technology. Now, all the information I gave you, I know it's a lot to digest, and it may not all make sense. I had trouble playing it back and making sense, but it really does fit all ages. And I truly hope you can make sense out of this little piece of life lessons that I've provided here. One thing about these principles is no matter what your age, they fit. If you decide to start tracking your personal net worth, I think you will be very surprised how it changes your outlook on the value of money and the importance of keeping up with the Joneses or having status symbols, which is fine. We all go through it. Just be careful you don't overdo it. Don't just let this video guide you. A great research tool is YouTube to learn about personal finance and your own secure future. You can find a lot of information on YouTube to help guide your future and learn about finances and things I've discussed here. And it's free. You can listen to it, judge it for yourself, put it to use, or put it to bed, and use it for your own benefit. You are welcome to reply to this video if you have any questions or if you have an opinion. And I know you all have opinions on what I've said. And remember though, you are the one in charge of your future. I wish you all secure financial health. Thanks for watching. And please, if you think it has a little bit of value, pass it on. You may have to watch it or listen to it several times before some of it makes sense. And if you need clarification, that's when you can send me a note or some information it might be lost on. And remember, I will come up with a couple other videos, hopefully, about further money issues. Bye. Oh, and I forgot to say, smile.